point with one conclusion. First, it is very important to have visibility. Visibility in democracies. In liberal democracies like America, the public needs to be informed and educated so that the public can give lawmakers and can give the president and can give Congress in general and media all what they need to intervene. Nobody would intervene, nobody would go even to New York to the Security Council if there is no public push. Second, you want to make sure that when you are going to be pushing for this goal of freedom and liberty to the Beja people, that you don't have a competition that's going to steal this revolt and back to other areas. Because that is possible, even in Sudan, especially in Sudan. And thirdly, it is very important that you ensure a wide coalition that will support you. Now, to Sudan, my second and final remark. I have published a book way before this last book that Faith has introduced. I was almost a kid. I was in law school when I published it in Arabic in 1979. And in that book, I dedicated one chapter on Sudan in Arabic. That's why very few people read it in America before I immigrated. So write in English more than in Arabic or in any other language. And from that time, throughout the 80s and the 90s after I immigrated, I have been pushing for the issue of Sudan. But the issue of Sudan was not very clear, even to me. I mean, I wrote a chapter on Sudan in '79. I had no idea that the northern provinces of Sudan, other than the south, also had an issue of liberty and freedom. I learned about it with time. I was a, continuous supporter of southern Sudan. Then we learned about Darfur. Then we learned about the Nuba Mountain, then the northern Nubians. And then it's only a few years ago that we started to learn about the Beja people. Now, why don't we know? Because there is nothing in our textbooks, it begins in the classroom, that says that there is a Beja people and the Beja people have been struggling. It does not exist. And we struggle through this not just in Sudan, but across North Africa and the Middle East. People didn't know that there were Berber people, Amazigh people in Northern Africa. The Kurds were something very new to Americans in the early 1990s. So the cultural awareness is extremely important, and that's why what you are doing today here is of great importance to introduce just basic facts that Sudan is a multi-ethnic society. And if the southern Sudanese were able to have access to their own self-determination, this is not the end of it. The north of Sudan is also a multi-ethnic society, and some segments of this society, including your people, are suffering and have been suffering. So with this, I come to my conclusion. That is, the Beja area in Sudan is an issue of, first of all, right to exist and to have their own culture. That is something that cannot be negotiated. That is something that is embedded in the rights of self-determination. Now, what would the Beja people want to do with their future is the business and the duty of the Beja people themselves. That's why I came up with the notion that what the international community should do is to provide to the Beja people with their rights of self-determination, and the only tool that we have is a referendum, is to really ask those people on the ground, in reality, what is it that you feel you belong to in terms of identity, and what is it that you feel to the future on the constitutional, political level, so on and so forth. So I would recommend that in your agendas, in our agendas for freedom in the Middle East, there should be a stipulation whereby the Beja population have the right for referendum, because simply they have never been asked that question. And second, from the perspective of national security to the United States and to the countries in the region, we are very concerned to see that on the one hand, reports about circulation of and activities of radical elements against the will of the Beja people, with the will of the Sudanese Omar Bashir regime. And this activity by jihadists, Al-Qaeda element, other radicals, linking with Somalia's Shabab, linking with other elements in North Africa, is of great concern, needs to be addressed. But then the other point that we have been seeing recently, reports about Iranian activities. Iranian activities in Port Sudan, Iranian activities in Eritrea, next door. Iranian activities in northern Yemen, the Houthis. So our experts believe that the Iranian activities that are targeting the Red Sea and are targeting the security of the region are also targeting the security of the United States and also of the international economic stability. We are at a point where the Iranians are threatening the Hormuz Strait, but the Iranian presence is also in the Red Sea and is also, according to those reports, penetrating eastern Sudan. For all these reasons, reasons of freedom first for the Beja people, reasons of terrorism and infiltration by these jihadi elements, and the reason of security threat by the Iranian regime, we need to convince as many members of Congress first, and as many members of the European Parliament as well, and also the administration here, and if we can, all the way to the Security Council, that the initiative should be leveled to address the security threat in eastern Sudan. One part of it should be, as I said, to grant the right for referendum for the Beja people, and the other part is to have an international presence to secure that area so that no threat coming from Iran against the international community or from the jihadists and Al-Qaeda against the region. And with this, I'd like to thank you very much for extending the invitation. It's a pleasure and an honor, and anything we can do to help the cause of freedom in eastern Sudan, don't hesitate. Thank you.